Hello. Welcome to the 6th part of the solo max level newbie. A special thanks to my Patreon for supporting me. And if you want to support, you can join my Patreon for as low as $1. Thank you very much. Let's begin. At the beginning of this part we see that Namgong Yun, Hwangbo Gunnik, Tang Soha, Jagal Chun, they are in Amsterdam. They say, what a terrible demon realm. Tang Soha says, why does the Murim Alliance employ these corpses? Gun Ak says, yes, we can do this work instead. Someone gets there and says, have you ever considered that things are this way here? Because you did a terrible job on the 4th floor. Yun is really surprised and thinks, she's the first expert martial artist amongst the successors of Murim to reach supreme peak. She says, it's been a while. She is Bek Xiaolin. She says, a soldier only possesses value when he carries out the order given to him. Not when he questions the order given to him, do you understand? They says, yes, ma'am. Valardum says, you're all here. Welcome to the new land of the dead. I'm Valardum. Isn't this place splendid? Many wars must have taken place here. There are many types of the dead I can raise. Xiaolin says, that's enough small talk. We've come to check whether you've carried out your end of the promise or not. Valardum says, you sure are boring. He bring out Teresa's shield and says, Teresa de Laurentia. The saintess. That damn human was no match for me. Gun SK grabs the shield and says, that woman. She's finally met her pathetic end. Valardum says, that's a much better reaction. After that we see some helicopters come there. Someone says, we'll be in Amsterdam soon. The gates in the tower that lead to Europe have been taken over by the enemies. That means there is no way back once we get down there. He is awakened Association Department Head Kim Taechun. Jin-hyuk looks sad. Taechun says, are you sure you'll be fine with these members? He says, player Kong Jinnik. Jin-hyuk smiles and says, yes, of course. These 4 are enough. His friend says, we've already been through something similar on the 4th floor. Taemin says, although this one's outside the tower. Jin-hyuk says, what got into you? You never volunteer to join firsthand. Stalker says, shut up. I do what I want. Taechun says, player Kong Jin-hyuk, is there something else we should know? Jin-hyuk says, the boss, Valardum, is a powerful lick mage. Unless he runs out of corpses, he basically has an endless supply of forces. The fewer citizens killed by him, the fewer soldiers he will have. Please stop the gates in the other regions while we raid this place. He says, understood. Tankers from all over the world are coming in by both sea and land right now. They'll help you with the boss raid. I weigh this every time. But good luck. After that a lot of flying monster attacks them. Taemin activates Machine King, and says, I'll take care of them. He uses Mana Bullet, and kills a lot of them. He says, there are too many of them. I can't get them all. They're gonna get here. Jin-hyuk says, hey, Stalker. Watch closely. Jin-hyuk opened the door. He says, what are you? Jin-hyuk jumps and says, how a real expert reacts to this kind of situation. Jin-hyuk is going down really fast. Jin-hyuk activates Amplification Barrier, and also Distance Expansion Barrier, and Glacier Formation. Jin-hyuk kills a lot of them. And then he calls out Sylphide. Wind Spirit gets there and Jin-hyuk lands on it. His friends are surprised to see his skill. Taemin says, his skills are unbelievable no matter how many times I see them. Valardum feels something and says, this method is. They've reanalyzed the formula of a spell to make it more advanced. Seems like a pretty talented mage is coming this way. Jin-hyuk thinks, is probably what he's thinking. Then considering Valardum's personality, his next move will be summoning a large monster. A really big gate appears. And a bone dragon come out. Valardum activates view sharing. Jin-hyuk says, then he'll just sit back and watch. Valardum says, alright. Prepare for death, everybody. Bone dragon uses a really strong attack called Fear. All the helicopters gets out of control. Stalker says, damn it, we'll go down without having done anything at this rate. Jin-hyuk summons Goguma, and says, Goguma, show them what you've got. Goguma also uses Fear. System says, a higher being's skill has nullified the lower being's skill. Bone Dragon's fear has vanished. Valardum is surprised and says, this is. Bone Dragon feels really strong pressure. That it is barely able to stand. Valardum thinks, Who surprising. How is it that an ancient species is in the hands of a human? Is this the human the Muram guys warned me about? He must be Kong Jinhyuk. Stalker also jumps out of the helicopter. And lands on Wind Spirit. Jinhyuk is riding Goguma. And says, what do you think? Nick ride, right. He says, if you can do it, I can do it too. He thinks, is what I said, but how does he fight while riding this thing? Jinhyuk says, Yanhwa, Taemin. We'll take care of things here, you guys go on. Bone Dragon starts to fly. Stalker says, just the two of us are taking that thing on. Jinhyuk says, yes, but in order to fight Valerdom, we have to conserve our mana. Let's make sure its attention is on us. Dragon come after them. Jinhyuk says, I think that worked. After that we see at the Amsterdam Palace. There is a really big army of undeads. He activates skill, all sharing. System says, depending on how much you and your target understand each other, the scope of what can be shared will be increased. Sharing your thoughts. Twins are in middle of that army wearing skeleton masks. Casey says, someone next to you keeps glancing over. Judilo says, it's okay, no one will notice. Whoa, you're right. They're real idiots. They have tied Teresa with magic chains. Casey thinks, we did look for her since Jinhyuk Oppa asked us to. But she's tied up with some strange magic spell that I don't know. And that Death Knight is guarding her. This is gonna be annoying. Jajalo says, Casey, I think he's looking at us. I'm telling you, it's not the undead or stupid. They'll never notice. Casey, I think it's coming this way. I said, it's not. Judilo, you're being so dramatic. Not everyone pays attention to you, you know. Probably just sees us a hotter than average undead soldiers. Death Knight stands right in front of them. And says, there are some rats among us. They starts to run and says, we got caught. Book it. Stalker uses Aura Blade. But it has no effect on the Bone Dragon. Jinhyuk says, I told you to conserve our mana. You never listen. Huh. Stalker gets angry and says, it's gonna take us ages to kill it if I don't do this. Jinhyuk says, you're that weak because you don't think outside the box. Stalker says, what? Jinhyuk says, timing is what's important. Jinhyuk speed up and says, follow me. Jinhyuk says, you see that portal which the dragon came out of? We're gonna fall into it. Go. They go really fast, he says, hold on tight. Stalker thinks, is he planning on crashing the dragon into the ground to kill it? I don't think that would kill it. They go through the portal. Jinhyuk uses 2-star spell acceleration barrier. System says, spell casting speed will be increased by 200%. Jinhyuk kills the dragon and system says, you have leveled up. Dragon starts to eat Bone Dragon. Jinhyuk says, you did great, Goguma, you can have the head. Stalker thinks, planning to get rid of the dragons around the time the portal closes. I'm speechless. Jinhyuk says, this must be the center of the enemy's lines. Jinhyuk sees the board in front of him. And thinks, seems like we got pretty near using the portal. I guess we still have a bit to go until we reach the Amsterdam Palace. Valerdom appears behind them and says, amazing. I never would have imagined such a tactic. You're really imaginative. Reminds me of the days when I was human. Back in the day. Stalker hits him with Aura Blade. He says, there's no need for talking. Die. Valerdom heals himself and says, all the humans here are so boring. You're attacking while I'm talking. His status window opens up. He is 3005 years old. And his level is 91. Another window appears saying, description, Valerdom used to be a great mage who was also once a climber of the tower, but he came face to face with his limits and fell into despair. He signed a contract with the Demon King and became a lich. He is prepared to do anything for the search of knowledge. And copy condition window appears saying, he has lived life hating every being ever since having become a lich. Show him how bitter and miserable life can be. Jinhyuk says, a physical attack like that won't work. That is illusion of the original form. Only magic attacks will work on him unless we're attacking the original. Stalker says, what a shitty matchup. Valerdom is surprised and thinks, he knows that about me already. He says, I'm a fragile lick, I'm Sue Scott. I didn't want to do this, but you leave me no choice. Please step up, guys. My dependable allies. Marine's martial artists. Beck Sional also gets there. After that we see at the France. Beck Jinyo says, you've been quite energetic lately. Jang Yunsuk. You were always just focused on women back in the day. He says, I decided to live a simpler life. You're looking better. They both jumps from the helicopter. Jinyo uses Beast's Roar. System says, all enemies within range will attack the user. Defense power will be increased by 30% for 30 seconds. Humanity began their counter-attack. The players who were dispatched all over Europe fought hard to protect a place that was not their home, in order to defeat the invaders who were threatening humanity. And those invaders did not take this counter-attack lightly. After that we see that Jinhyuk and Stalker are standing face to face with Lich and Muram martial artist. Lich says, please take care of these guys. I'm gonna go finish the method to completely destroy this place. Gun Axe says, aren't you the guy who lost to me on the 4th floor? Your name was Chun Yu-sung, right? Yu-sung gets really angry. Jinhyuk says, you were the one that got beat the hell up by me on the 4th floor, and then ran away. You bastard, who do you think I am? Looking down on the Namgong clan. He says, I did not say it like that. It's all because you used a cowardly tactic with that giant plant and ran off. She says, yeah, you coward. Jinhyuk says, that's funny. Isn't OT because you guys made a mess that day. Jinhyuk sees her and says, that you have a guardian now. Baek Seolin stats window appears. She is 25 years old. And her level is 115. And copy condition window appears saying, Baek Seolin's pride for the Manhwa sect is unimaginable. Make her use all of the skills she has, and if you can dodge all of her attack for 5 minutes, you will be able to copy one of her skills. He thinks about the Empire's old man saying, according to our spy, Marine's scheming something big again. Jinhyuk thinks, even Baek Seolin from Manhwa is here. They must be putting a lot of effort into this. Yu-sung says, I'll take care of things here. You go to Valerdom. You know a lot more magic spells than I do. Jinhyuk says, there are quite a lot of enemies here. Are you sure? Yu-sung smiles and says, it's just enough for training. Go. Jinhyuk says, then I'll leave it to you, Stalker. You bastard. Where do you think you're going? One of them tries to block the Yu-sung. He goes flying. Don't even think about going after him. Jinhyuk goes toward the Lich. Yu-sung gets ready to fight and says, the one to chase him can only be me. He activates Determination of Desperation. Attack power increased by 20%. Defense power decreased by 10%. Baek Seolin says, what are you doing? Attack him. They all starts to attack Yu-sung at the same time. Yu-sung starts to fight them at the same. Baek Seolin sees him and thinks, Chun Yu-sung. He's got quite the backbone for an outsider. Jinhyuk running. He keeps killing the undeads on the way. He uses element of fire. A really big explosion happens. Jinhyuk feels some dark aura, and thinks, I'm getting closer to the ominous aura. Teresa must be there. Will I be able to stop it in time? Teresa's corruption. After that we see that Teresa is surrounded by dark aura. Valerdom says, you're holding on quite well. How strong will you be once the corruption is complete? Can you stop making me wait? It's a bit annoying because of the increased number of people interfering. But tainting a saintess like you excites me. So, why don't you open the doors to your mind now? Miss Teresa. Death Knight says, Sir Valerdom. Valerdom says, what? I'm concentrating. Don't interrupt me. Death Knight says, we've lost sight of the rats. Some uninvited guests will be here soon, then. I'll give this to you. Lich brings out magic class relic dark angle die. Gather more soldiers and reinforce the barrier. Death Knight says, yes, sir. Valerdom says, and can you bring the human mage we brought earlier? Valerdom says, looks like she needs some more provocation. The 6th part of the solo max level newbie ends here. Please subscribe and like, and if you want me support financially you can join my Patreon only for $1. Patreon and Discord links are in the description if you want support me. And a special thanks to all my Patreons for supporting me. Thanks for watching.